watching. Now, when I was having a think about what kind of video I could make for you this week, I thought it had been a while since I had made a gum paste flower tutorial for you. So in this week's video, I'm going to show you how to make these really pretty gum paste ranunculus flowers. Now, these flowers can be made in so many different sizes and colours, and they look perfect on their own or just beautiful mixed in with other flowers if you're adding them to birthday cakes or wedding cakes. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to need in order to make the ranunculus flower is, first of all, I've just got my gum paste. So this is just some Squire's floral paste, and I've coloured one half of it in pink and the other half in this green. Now I've just added a tiny bit of pink to the green to make it kind of a dusky green or a sage colour. I've also got a set of 5 rose petal cutters. I've then got a petal veiner. Now you might want to use this, or you might just want to leave them smooth, which is absolutely fine. I've got some modelling tools here, so I've got my ball tool and this tool with the pointy end. I've got some 18 gauge wire, my foam board and my rolling pin. Just some tools in order to cut and shape my wire. I've got some edible green tin here, and I've also got this small round cutter. Now I'm just going to use this to make an indent on the flower, and this is just the end of a pen, which was the perfect size. So this is just about 1/2 centimetre in diameter. I've also got a set of spoons and some edible glue. I've also got a wire rack, which I'm going to use to hang the flowers on as I make them, and just a container that I can use just to store the petals in so they don't dry out. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is work on the center of the flower. So what I've got is 18 gauge wire here, and I'm just going to use these metal tools. I'm just going to make a loop on the end. I'm then going to take some of my green gum paste, and you just want to roll out a ball until it's about 1 inch in diameter. Okay, so I'm just going to take this little round circle cutter, and I'm just going to push that into the top of the flower. I'm then going to take my modelling tool that has a point on the end, and just working on the flower, I'm just going to push and pull on that gum paste around the circle just to create texture. Okay, so once you're happy with how that centre of the flower is looking, we're going to attach our wire. Okay, so there are a few different ways that you can attach your wire. The first is you can dip the end that's got the loop into some edible glue and push that into the bottom of your flower. Now this might take a few hours to dry. If you do want to start working on your flower straight away, what I tend to do is heat up the end of the wire until the wire gets really hot and goes red. Now the wire will get really hot, and once I can see that that wire has been heated up, you just want to poke that in the bottom of the gum paste. As you can see, that's quite secure. So I'm just going to bend my wire over just so we've got a little hook, and I'm just going to hang that on the metal rack. Okay, so what I've got here is some more of that green gum paste and also my petal cutters. Now first of all, I'm going to cut out the petals for the first and the second row. So I'm going to use the smallest of the petal cutters. So this one is about 1 centimetre across, and the next size up is about 1.5 centimetres. So I'm going to roll my gum paste out and cut those out. Okay, so you will need your gum paste really thin. So as you can see my fingers through this one. So this is about 1 millimetre in thickness. So I'm going to take my smallest cutter first, and I'm going to cut out 6 petals. I'm then going to take the next size up and cut another 6 of those out. And as I've rolled out quite a lot, I'm going to cut out the next layer. So I need 7 of the slightly bigger ones. And make sure that any gum paste that you're not using, you wrap back up, put in cling film and put in your container so that it doesn't dry out. I'm also just going to separate out the 6 smallest petals and put the others in a container as well. Okay, so now we've got our 6 mini petals. All I'm going to do is just take this petal veiner, and I'm just going to put each of the petals in that and just close it up. Okay, so I've now got each of the small petals on my foam board, and I'm just going to use my ball tool and just run the ball tool in the center of those without going on the edges. So we don't want to fan the edges out, which is just going to give the petals this cupped shape. And I'm then just going to put some edible glue on the back of those and bring back in the center of my flower. Now what we want to do is leave the circle in the middle and just start covering up this texture that we created. So I'm going to take my first petal and just place that on, and as you can see it's curved around the flower. Now this one I don't want to push on too much because I need to lift it slightly when we put the next one on. So for the next one I'm just going to put this directly over the top of the other one and just work my way around top of that flower, just creating this closed petal effect. And for the last one, all I'm going to do is just slightly peel back the first petal and slot that one in underneath. So there we have our first row of petals, and I'm just going to put that on the drying rack while we work on the next layer. So I'm going to take 6 of the next size up, and I'm going to do these in exactly the same way. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the flower so far. So for the first one, what we want to do is just cover one of these joins and just bring the petals out slightly. Still see the ones below, and do exactly the same as before. So just work your way around the flower, creating this closed petal effect. And again, when you come to the last one, just slightly peel back the first one you placed down and put that one in between, and just push all the petals down. Now I'm going to do exactly the same for another green layout, but this time it's going to have 7 petals on, so it will just be slightly bigger. So I'm going to prepare all those petals in exactly the same way. Okay, so now they're all ready, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, so there we have the first 3 rows. Now you could continue with exactly the same color, and it doesn't have to be green. These flowers come in all different colors. For my flower, I'm going to make one with a green center that goes out to pink petals. So for the next layer of petals, what I'm going to do is prepare some pink gum paste. So now my gum paste has been rolled out really thinly. What I'm going to do is just take the petal cutter that we were previously using, and I'm going to cut out 8 of those. I'm then going to take the next size up. So this petal cutter is about 2 centimeters in diameter, and I'm going to cut out 7 of those. Okay, so I'm going to bring back in my foam mat, and I've got the 8 petals in pink here, and I'm just going to use the veiner and do exactly the same method as we did before. Okay, so I'm going to place these balls in exactly the same way. Now, depending on how closed up you want your flower, you might want to just start pulling these ones out, just to open that up a little bit. And for the next row, we are going to use the slightly bigger ones. So we're now on to the 3rd petal cutter, and I'm going to add on the 7 that we have previously cut out. Okay, so now the petals are getting slightly bigger. What I'm going to do is use some spoons, and all I'm going to do is just sit those petals inside the spoons for a few minutes just before I put them onto the flower, and this will just allow them to keep that kind of dome shape. Okay, so with this next layer, what I'm doing is putting the edible glue just half on the petals, so just leaving the top rim, just because we don't want that to push down. So I'm going to put these on in exactly the same way. Okay, so for the next row, I'm just going to put exactly the same size petals on, but I'm going to put 8 of those on. Okay, so for row 6, I'm just going to add these next ones on. So that's just 8 of those. And what you might want to do at this stage is just using your pointy tool, just separate those slightly, and you might just want to pop some tissue paper in those if they're spraying backwards. Okay, so for the next row, I'm just going to put an identical row of 8 on there. next row, go up to the next size. Now the set of petal cutters that I have 5 different sizes. Now you may not have this many sizes, so you may just want to use 3 or 4. I'm going to go up to the next size up. So this one is about 2.5 centimeters in diameter, and I'm going to put 7 of those onto the flower. Okay, so this is the next row of petals going on. Okay, so depending on the size flower that you are looking for, you can either leave the flower like that, but I'm going to add one more row on, and as I've got one more size petal cutter, I'm just going to use the largest petal cutter. So this is about 3.5 centimeters in diameter. So I'm going to add 7 of those just to finish off my flower. Using my pointy tool, I'm just going to separate some of those petals out. But there we have the shape of the flower. Now to finish off the flower, what I'm going to do is just colour the centre just so it blends slightly. Okay, so all I've got here is just some apple green petal dust and a small fluffy brush, and all I'm going to do is just brush some of that green onto the centre of the flower and just bring it over onto some of those pink petals, just to expand that colour out and make it look like it's a bit more of a natural graduation from the green to the pink. Okay, so I've left my flower to dry, and here we have the finished ranunculus flower. Now this one has 10 rows of petals, and I've also created another slightly smaller one which only has 6, just so you can see that they can be made in all different shapes and sizes. I really hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial and will find it useful if you're making your own ranunculus flowers. If you have enjoyed the video, then please give it a like, and if you'd like to see more videos like this and haven't already subscribed, then please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button, and this will alert you every time a new video is uploaded. Also, don't forget to head over to my Instagram and my Facebook page, and I'll put a link in the description below to my blog where I'll put a full list of all the tools that I used in today's video. Bye!